Hey everybody, it's your friend Jason Pound here answering the top asked questions by home buyers in today's Oklahoma real estate market. The question we're tackling today, why don't Oklahoma builders negotiate on their prices? Even if a property has been sitting there over a year, they will stick their peg leg in a hole and they will not reduce their price. They will take a loss and not reduce the price. Why is that? Well, the short answer is comps. However, as usual, let me over-explain. Builders, when they place a home for sale, are not only thinking about your transaction, they are thinking about all of the transactions that are coming in the future. And they think in price per square foot. And if they sell you a house for $200 a square foot, the next house at the same quality needs to go at $200 a square foot unless the prices for labor and materials have gone up. And then those prices will slowly creep up to match that. But at a certain cost, they need to hit a certain dollar per square foot consistently. That way they can predict their costs, they can predict their profits, and they create predictability for the real estate market and for appraisers. And if one of their houses is selling at $200 a square foot and one is selling at $188 a square foot and one is selling for $220 a square foot, that creates unpredictable results all across the board, from them planning and running their business, also to appraisers. But when they have consistent inputs and consistent outputs and consistently appraise at certain values, it makes the whole market move more smoothly. So that being said, I want to point out 3 different types of builders that you're going to run across in general and how to actually negotiate with them. The first and most common are the big box builders. I would call these the Ideal Homes, the Home Creations, the D.R. Hortons of the world, those types of houses. That's where a big corporation comes in, buys up a chunk of land, gets it surveyed, develops it all at the same time, starts building street by street by street, and they will complete a certain percentage of homes, and then they will develop the chunk right next to it, and they'll slightly go up on the quality, slightly go up on the size, sell that at a higher price, and then that'll take about 1 to 2 years. And then they'll go in behind that, and the deeper you get into the neighborhood, typically the bigger and more expensive the houses become. And that's traditionally the way the big boxes develop their neighborhoods. Well, if they're building hundreds of homes at the same time, they are not going to negotiate on price. In fact, they're going to be really, really difficult to negotiate with unless the neighborhood starts moving slowly. If the neighborhood sales start moving more slowly, this is where you can begin to negotiate with them. Sometimes they own the title company and you can get reduced title fees. Sometimes they also own the lending company and you can get special teaser interest rates, so you can save money on the financing. Other times you can negotiate, because a lot of these big boxes are not putting in normal things that you would expect, such as gutters, fences, back patios, pergolas, blinds, sometimes even fans, things like that do not show up in an appraisal but would cost you extra money. That's how you negotiate with a big box builder. With a spec builder, it is very similar to a big box builder, except they're operating on a much smaller scale. Whereas these big box guys, they're building hundreds of homes in a neighborhood, and they might be building hundreds of neighborhoods across the country. Your spec builder is more of your one-man operation who's building anywhere from 1 to 20 homes a year. They build anywhere from 1 to 4 houses at a time, and then when they finish them, they put them up for sale with a realtor. And then they use those funds to go fund the next project, and they're always in the cycle, building a few homes, selling a few homes. They also refuse to negotiate on price. We just had a deal bust. It appraised $21,000 short. And this builder would not budge on price, would not budge on giving us more land with the deal, would not budge on giving us more upgrades. And this particular house that busted is a brand new build right across the street, a pitching wedge away from where the turnpike is going to be. They're probably never going to sell this house. We had a buyer who didn't mind living near the turnpike, but they wanted the property at a fair price. We offered a lower price. The builder didn't accept it. We had it appraised. The appraiser came in at a lower price. The builder wouldn't accept it. We broke the deal and went away. This builder is going to lose their shorts because they were trying to protect their comp price. They weren't thinking logically that the turnpike destroyed that particular house's opportunity. The third type of builder that you run across is a custom builder. And this is what most people think when they get under contract to buy a new house. But with the big box builders and the spec builders, you don't get to choose a whole lot. They tend to buy their materials in bulk, which saves them money. And so they might say, hey, we have 3 colors of paint for you to choose from. We have 4 styles of tile for you to choose from. We have 3 home layouts. We're not going to hire an architect to completely redesign this thing, but you can choose from one of 3 or 4 floor plans. That's how these guys operate. The third one is a completely custom build. You design everything. How thick do you want your studs? How high do you want your windows off the ground? How low do you want your counters to be if you're short? How high do you want the counters to be if you're tall? The risk with a custom build is they can build you whatever you want at whatever quality level you want. But just because you use golden nails and marble shipped straight from Rome does not mean that that property is going to appraise at the same amount that you spent to build it. So it's very important that with a custom build, you are either A, paying cash for it and willing to stay there 7 to 10 years, or B, you are working with a lender that is going to protect you and use what is known as the draw system. And they are going to have to submit their final plans and their final budget, and the bank is going to have to do some quote unquote appraisals to make sure that the vision for this home is not only going to fit in the budget, but it's also going to fit into the appraisal value range of the neighborhood. I mean, you can't build $1 million luxury home in a $100,000 neighborhood. It is not going to appraise. So in short, now you know why builders don't negotiate on price. If you're building a custom build, it is going to be the builder's cost plus their profit margin that they are expecting. And they're not going to negotiate on their profit margin. They'll just say politely and respectfully, no, we decline to build this project for you. And then on these two, they can't afford to negotiate, because if they negotiate with you, they're going to have to negotiate down to the same spot for everybody else that comes behind you. So you try to make it up in the upgrades and things that you ask for. My name is Jason Pound with Jericho Pound Realty Group. We service the entire Oklahoma City metro area with hyper-local expertise in South Oklahoma City, Moore, and Norman. If we can ever be of assistance in the real estate world, don't hesitate to give us a call. We're here to serve. In the meantime, peace out. Have a great life. And as you know, I'm going to get back to work.